How should we feel about players choosing to opt out?
I think it's about respect first and foremost, Molly. We have to respect individuals that have a call to affect change in our country, let alone worldwide. And for those that have made the statements or chosen to necessarily not participate, that's fine with them. I just want to take this moment to now look at all those other individuals that they say they love the game so much they do it for free. Now we're talking about today's
Mhm.
time where guys make millions and millions of dollars, and they are trying to give the public something different as a difference of the entertainment. Now it's about hope. Now it's about we're getting back to normalcy, because if there's anything that we need in our society right now, it's something that we could feel good about as far as getting back to what used to be the norm.
How should we feel about players choosing to opt out of the resumption of the season?
Well, to me, that's a two-part answer. The one answer is if it has anything to do with the coronavirus pandemic, we should completely and fully respect their decision. That's a health issue. Obviously, they have concerns about not just themselves, but their families. Take Avery Bradley's in the situation into consideration. Having a 6-year-old child that has had respiratory issues, that's simply something that he just doesn't want to even entertain. And I can totally respect that. Anybody who wants to miss games because of the pandemic, absolutely, completely support that. If there's another reason, I'm sorry, I just don't feel that way. And I say that respectfully. When we talk about racial, systemic racism and things of that nature, that has been existing long before Dwight Howard was ever born, and it'll be here when he's gone. You still have a job to do. You signed up to do that. You go ahead and you do that, especially playing for the NBA. And I say that respectfully because I want to leave some wiggle room for people to understand that I do appreciate and totally understand guys' sentiments in this regard. But the bottom line is this: the NBA is not inhibiting you from being active with the protests, from taking your political or social issue positions. A matter of fact, they're encouraging it and they're supporting it. So in light of that reality, combined with the fact that you have a guy like LeBron James in the National Basketball Association who's got his movement going more than a vote, and it's being supported by a plethora of athletes and beyond, and you have other players that are actively involved in social issues who are scheduled to show up in Orlando, why wouldn't you be there if you're Dwight Howard? Specifically, since you're literally a year removed from contemplating whether or not your career was over. You wanted to play, you wanted to pursue the championship. There's nobody stopping Dwight Howard or anybody else from continuing to address the causes that they want to and feel the need to address. But that should not stop you from showing up to work in pursuit of a championship. He's being paid $2.5 million. I think he's worth more than that. He's averaging 7 and 7. Averaging 19 minutes a game, coming off the bench, being a tremendous spark plug for the Los Angeles Lakers, and really validating that his career indeed is not over. He can make a contribution to a lot of teams. But the first rule of ability is availability. You got to be there. And in this particular instance, I think if he's healthy, he should be there. Any issues of racial strife or what have you that you want to address, you can address it the minute those 2 hours playing on the court in Orlando is over. You need to get back there and play with your team. That's my position.
Well, there's tremendous overlap between this pandemic, Stephen A., and these social issues. George Floyd may not have been the kind of inflection point or moment in American political and social life that it's been had it not been for this pandemic. In fact, this is a point that you and I have discussed and you made on a previous show. Stephen A., you're fond of saying that when white people catch a cold, black people get what? Pneumonia, right? Well,
Pneumonia.
when white people don't wear face masks, black people get coronavirus. It is disproportionately affecting communities of color, not just here, but around the world, but especially here. We have something like 4% of the population of the world, but some enormous percentage of coronavirus cases because of our disastrous leadership in this country, or lack thereof. And it's affecting black people disproportionately, African Americans disproportionately. So there's tremendous overlap between the pandemic and social issues. Furthermore, this idea that racism has always been here and it's going to be here long past Dwight Howard, therefore do nothing or work within the system, well, it's his prerogative to say, no, wait a minute. I want to work not from within the system, or just because it has been before me and it will outlast me doesn't mean I shouldn't do anything. And this is the way I feel I'm best served in this cause, especially when that dovetails with, wow, this is risky, or I don't think that we should be causing a distraction right now. So for those reasons, I think it's fine if someone wants to opt out, even if it's not just exclusively about their own health or the health of their family or even others. I think they're perfectly entitled to opt out for other reasons. Again, everyone wants to kind of get back to normal. But as you know better than I, Stephen A., because you are African American and I am not, normal has benefited white people and been detrimental to black people. And so largely many in this country of all, in a multiracial coalition are saying, before we get back to normal, let's make normal something that's better for everybody, not just some people.
Well, first of all, I would appreciate it respectfully if you don't interpret what I mean for me. First of all, I'm not advocating that we return to normal. I understand that these are abnormal times, and it's for the good as far as I'm concerned. I like the fact that society to some degree is in an uproar over the kind of things that have been transpiring. But let's be real about what the situation is. When the dust settles, and it will settle, because it always does, there is some degree of normalcy that we have to return to. And as a result of that, we have to weigh the pros and the cons. Certainly we want to have an impact, no question about that. But on this show, Bruce Bowen, I brought this up. People want to ignore this reality. I'm not ignoring it because I report on the NBA and commentate on the NBA, and I happen to know these things are true. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.